Welcome to another disgusting episode of Monday Movie Pickup. Alright, let's talk about the 4K Blu-rays right away. Here's Lightyear, the newest Pixar film released earlier this year. Not a lot of people were fond of it, I guess. I didn't hear praise for the movie. It got mediocre reviews, and a lot of people didn't see the movie. I think they had an issue with marketing because it was not a sequel or a prequel. It's a spin-off, but how exactly does it fit into the Toy Story universe when it's not the same Buzz Lightyear that we saw in the original Toy Story films? It's not even the same voice actor. I didn't blame people for being a little confused. Granted, I went and saw the movie. I actually saw it 2 days before its Thursday night premiere at a special screening, and I thought it was an entertaining movie. I think the beginning of the movie is a lot better than the conclusion, but I still think it got the job done. I don't think Disney did the best marketing campaign for this movie. And then over here we have Poltergeist. So actually, if I were to grab the other Poltergeist Blu-ray that I have, this is the Digibook, I believe from 2007. Now, I am not out to upgrade all of my Blu-rays to 4K now that I have a 4K player, but there are some exceptions. Poltergeist, I never thought had the best Blu-ray disc. I think the movie needed a better restoration, and from what people have said, it looks fantastic on 4K. Unfortunately, the artwork was ugly. Not this artwork. There is a different artwork out there for the general release of the film, and it's awful. I don't know why they just didn't use, the original poster. Here's a great stylized version of it. I don't know why they just didn't use that. Instead, they have, I believe it's supposed to be Craig T. Nelson's character standing in front of the house screaming at it, but it's some of the worst cover art I've seen from a major studio. And it's not like I really care about artwork on all of my Blu-rays. I never really have, but if I'm gonna get the 4K disc of this movie, I might as well get some good artwork out of it if I'm already spending the money to do the upgrade. So I got the 4K version. I think this artwork is a little better. It's the famous scene in the movie where the sister falls through this hole and all those skeletons, which apparently were real skeletons, are at the bottom of this pit. This is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. This is the back of the Steelbook, and I know a lot of collectors out there, they specifically will only buy Steelbooks, it seems. I don't have much for a Steelbook collection. I have probably less than 10. It's not something I look out for. The artwork was just that much better than the standard release. I have here Last Night in Soho. This is Edgar Wright's most recent feature-length film. I liked the movie. It was, not one of my favorites from Edgar Wright, and I don't even think I put it in my top 10 of 2021. I think it was an honorable mention. So the movie it's not bad. It's fine enough. I just, it was nice to see Edgar Wright try to do a horror movie and really stick to his guns. He didn't throw a lot of comedy into it. It wasn't like Shaun of the Dead. It was a horror movie, a spooky kind of throwback type of horror movie. I haven't felt the need to rewatch it yet, but I guess since Halloween's coming up, maybe I'll put it on the calendar for October. I'll give it another watch, and maybe I'll like it even more. And I did like the movie. It's just, Edgar Wright's my favorite director of all time. It's going to be tough for him to make a 5 out of 5 movie every single time. Here I have Chopping Mall. So this is from the Vestron video series. This is the first release that they did for this line. And Chopping Mall is one of those horror movies that I have heard a lot about, but I have not actually ever seen. And I don't know if this means I'm going to start collecting all the Vestron video films. I know I own the third Return of the Living Dead. I own Maximum Overdrive. I believe Little Monsters is another one. So I have a few of the Vestron video. I was starting to look through what else they've released, and this one sparked my interest, and it's the first one, so I don't know if that means I'm going to go the Paramount Presents route and start buying every single Vestron video release, but we'll see. The Haunted Mansion. I'm excited that Disney is finally doing a new version of the movie. It's going to be released, I believe, next year, and it kind of made me reminisce about the original film, which is not a scary movie, but hey, there was a time in 2003 when I was a kid, I hated horror movies, and someone tried to bring me to the Haunted Mansion. I think it was like 7 at the time, and I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't go to the Haunted Mansion starring Eddie Murphy. I think we went and saw Brother Bear instead. I couldn't do the Haunted Mansion. I saw it many years later, and I don't remember much about it. I probably remember more about it from YouTube reviews. But hey, I was buying the other, Poltergeist last night in Soho. Best Buy has all their horror movies out right now. For what they have left of a Blu-ray section anyway, which is hardly anything nowadays. It's just like one row in their store. But they did bring out the Halloween titles, and I saw the Haunted Mansion there for very cheap, and I was like, it's about time I add you to my collection. And this is a weird one. This is one of those movies that were released on Blu-ray very early when Disney started doing Blu-ray. Haunted Mansion was one of the first to get released on Blu-ray. So I don't know what that was all about. I don't know if the DVD was that successful that, yeah, it has to be put on Blu-ray right away. I have here the Lord of the Rings. This is the original animated film. The Blu-ray, I believe, is out of print. I usually see it go for higher prices. I've been sort of watching it the last few years, so I finally caught it at a point where the price was low enough I would buy the film. But I believe it is out of print. I don't know if Warner Brothers doesn't have the rights to the original animated movie anymore. The Lord of the Rings franchise is very complicated with the rights. Who owns what? Who owns the Lord of the Rings and who owns the Hobbit? Who can make movies? Who can release and distribute the movies? It's confusing. I've tried to read about it before, but the point is that here's the animated movie. I have it. This is the Warner Brothers release from, I believe, 2010. Gravity Falls, the complete series. So this is from Shout Factory. I'm sure a lot of fans already own this set. Surprisingly, a few years ago, Shout Factory got the rights to do the entire Disney series on Blu-ray, which, Disney, they almost never release any of their animated shows on DVD. Not like in a season format. It always seems like it's random collections, or they'll only do a few episodes for a DVD, and then, here's the bonus disc, by the way. But yeah, in recent years, as DVD sales have gone down, they've been doing less and less with DVDs, but luckily, in recent years, a lot of their older shows started to show up on DVD, and sometimes even Blu-ray with Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. A lot of their older shows did start popping up on physical media via Disney Movie Club. Now, Gravity Falls is an interesting situation where actually Shout Factory got the rights to do this collector's edition with special features, commentaries, everything. A lot of love and devotion for this show, and a lot of love and devotion went into this set. Now, it is going out of print, so if you want to get this set, I believe, don't take my word for it, but I believe it's going until March of 2023. But that's the reason I bought it. I heard it was going out of print. I know this is going to shock people. I started watching this show, I believe, when I first entered college, and I loved the show, but I never did finish it. So it's about time I finish Gravity Falls properly. I think I'll just do I'll rewatch the episodes I started with and do a complete watch through the entire series. And then I got some VHS upgrades. Here's Clueless, a movie that I thought was okay. I did not get as behind this movie as a lot of people usually do. I think a lot of people consider it a cultural touchstone. I don't have anything else really to say about it beyond that. I don't know. Maybe I'll give it another watch sometime. Here's The Majestic, starring Jim Carrey. This is from the same director who did The Shawshank Redemption. And I owned this movie on VHS, but I never got to actually watching the film. So, as a fan of Jim Carrey, this is one of the very few movies of his that I actually haven't seen. Here's a weird one. So this is Big Shots. This is a movie that I rented as a kid from our local video store, Bob's Video. The only reason I borrowed it was because I saw the cover with these two kids, and I was like, oh, it's got to be a great movie then, because I was a kid. I was like, oh, this looks like fun just from this cover. I don't remember anything about the movie. It's funny, actually, because when that store closed down, we bought a couple VHSs that they were selling, and I bought this VHS. Even though whenever I saw the movie, I didn't care for it that much, but I still wanted to own it. There was something I think I saw in this movie that maybe I didn't understand at the time when I first watched it. So years later, when the store closed, I was like, I'm going to buy this VHS, and then I've held on to it, never have watched it again. But then I saw Warner Archive released on DVD, so I was like, okay, I'm finally going to watch this movie again. And last but not least, The Secrets of Isis. This is the DC live-action television show, one of the first that they ever made, I believe it went. Superman, and then the Batman show, so like the 50s Superman show with George Reeves, and then there was the Batman show that everybody knows, the 66 Batman with Adam West. I believe this was the third television show that they did, and this also has a DVD release. However, it is very much out of print unless you go on to Walmart.com and you're able to buy this movie, which every once in a while Walmart will do a listing for a movie that's pretty tough to get on DVD or Blu-ray. And usually if you buy it from Walmart, it's a third-party seller that is using Walmart to make the sale. And usually, I feel like it's a bootleg, because I'm pretty sure this is a bootleg. If you were able to feel the disc, you would tell that there's like, this is a sticker that like somebody pasted on. This was not like pressed by a professional company. It doesn't seem anyway. But before, I believe the series was released on DVD and then it went out of print. So I believe that someone just took the DVD and repackaged it and are just making bootleg versions of the old out-of-print DVD. I think that's what's going on. If anyone has any info about it, I mean, the point is that this looked good enough where I was like, well, I'll buy it, because the DC collection, I mean, I've always been growing it, and now I was like, maybe I could get all the TV shows too. Try to check out some of the more obscure ones, because I've never heard about this show. It's apparently based on DC comic. Not one that I've ever heard of, though. That's a real deep cut. But that's everything this week. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching the video, and special shout out to Lauren, Anthony, Anna, Kirsten, Spencer, Lucas, Ryan, and Robert for supporting me on Patreon. By joining my Patreon, you can get exclusive blogs and videos, and for just $7, you can get your own monthly movie review. I hope you stick around, Cinephile, and have a happy, productive day.